Hello makers, welcome to Always Yarn First, a podcast about knitting, crochet, spinning, and all the yarny goodness in between. I'm Lindsay and I'm coming to you from Little Rock, Arkansas. And as always, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome everyone. Before we get into it, just a quick reminder of my current make-alongs. I have a year-long make-along with my friend Lori of Arkansas Yarn Co. for the Nothing But Double make-along, which is knitting or crocheting any blanket. You just have to hold yarn double. And then I have a Stripe Along 2023 make-along that is going on now till the end of this year. And I am co-hosting that with Kimbers Cozy Creation, Happy Little Yarn, and Jessalyn Janice. And I am hosting it personally on Ravelry. So you can go on the chat and the finished objects thread on my page. And then everyone else is hosting it in a different venue, so to speak. And I have all the links below. If they don't work, please send me a message. I know I had some problems after the last episode, but I think I got that fixed. So yeah, those are the make-alongs. We hope you all will make something with us. All right, so it is episode 48. Today is Sunday, October 15th. Usually I try to record Friday or Saturday so that I can get the podcast up early Sunday, but I got home from my Iowa trip Thursday night, and just Friday and Saturday were a little bit crazy, so I am doing this morning and will immediately edit and get this up. So, let's get into it. If you are new here, I name every podcast episode off of a song title because before my love of yarn was my love of music. I love most genres of music, and I always find that there is a song or song title at least that fits in with my making mood, so to speak. So this week I chose Faith by George Michael. I am a huge George Michael fan. And I'm hoping to have a little faith that I get some whips done because this week there is none completed. I have a Spotify playlist where you will find every song title, every song basically I've used as a title of my podcast in my Spotify playlist. So if you'd like to follow that, I add it every time, and that is linked below. Sorry if you hear pitter-pattering. I film in my dining room, and as soon as I start talking to the camera, all the animals come in here because they want to know what's going on. So it is mostly my dogs. Sometimes you'll see my cat. As I was recording last time, my cat likes to sit on top of my china cabinet. And at one point during the podcast, the cat was sitting in front of me. And at the end of the podcast, he was up there. And I'm like, how did he get up there? Because usually he jumps from the table right where I'm sitting. And then when I was editing, I saw the cat get over here and jump over, which I thought was hilarious. So all kinds of hijinks with the animals. So let's get into the podcast, and let's start with I'm actually wearing a knitted item. So what I am wearing is the Rocket Tee DK by TanisFiberArts. And this was yarn that was gifted to me by my friend Lori. She saw I had a very deep attachment to this color and gifted it to me, which was so super sweet. And so every time I wear this garment, I think of her, like, you know, it's like a hug from her. So I love it. I don't have in front of me what the colorway is, but I have linked below to my Ravelry page where you can find all that information. All right, so this week, kind of skipped a part here. This week, there's not a lot. I mean, there's definitely works in progress, but I have no finished objects. So we're going to do cast-ons, whips, future makes. That's it. There is like a little tiny acquisitions, but you're going to see it in whips. So, yeah. So we'll hopefully get through this pretty swiftly. All right, so let's go right into what I've cast on. All right, so the first thing I cast on, I talked about in the last podcast that I was my future make. I had signed up for a test knit from my friend Nicole, who is Prof Pearl on Instagram. Professor Pearl on YouTube. And it is for her shawl design. I have this in, let's see if I have it the right way, my fellow co-host for the Stripe Along, Jesselyn Janice. I love this bag. It is all over color. It's just absolutely crazy. There's a different fabric inside, and I'm totally here for it. Love it. All right, so this is the Comfort Zone shawl by Nicole. And this is not out yet. I think she's planning on November 1st. Most people that have tested it have already completed it. I am definitely at a spot in the shawl where I could bind off. But I'm literally going to go till my yarn runs out. See how big we get. So this is it. So you start down here. And literally this is the most potato chippy shawl ever. And I've knit a lot of easy shawls. I'm knitting the Pure Joy, which is pretty mindless once you know, okay, short rows, go back and forth, and then do this special thing. So this is so easy. You just are garter stitching, then you have a little bit of detail, and then you count how many garters you have, and then you know it's time for that detail again, and so on, and so on, and so on. So I have actually gotten quite far. This pattern is for a skein of fingering held with a skein of lace. And originally I was going to do mohair, but then y'all remember I got this funky tweed. It is about to be a mess in here. So I thought it'd be fun. I had a skein of black yarn from Misc Stash Yarns. I actually have the tag for that one. This is called Inkwell. And so I decided to use this, and you can see I have quite a bit left. I think the last time I weighed it, I had like 24 grams left. And people in the test knit have been kind of counting how many of the repeats, which is basically the special row here. And a lot of people have bound off about where I'm at right now. But I've decided to just go till I run out. So I think I'm at about like 12 repeats now, but I have quite a bit of yarn, and there was like 500 some yards on this thing. So I'm just going to go and go and go. So that's why I don't have this done yet. But when I was in Iowa, I basically worked on 2 projects. And this was one of them. This was one of the projects. This was a really great knit to have because it was mindless. Because I went to visit my grandma, you know, has health issues I've mentioned on here before. And so this one I didn't have to think about or mess up. And even if I, you know, forgot to do my increase on one row, whatever, this is a very forgiving pattern. So it just looks great no matter what. So I love this pattern. Definitely if you love shawls or want kind of just a social project, I definitely recommend this one when it comes out. So yeah, I hope to have that done very soon. That Tweed yarn, the one I showed, I didn't have this tag for it in here, but it's called Creative Make It Tweed, and the colorway was Multi. All right, so then I cast on one other thing when I was in Illinois. I stopped on the way to and from Iowa, kind of not as a midway point. It was almost there, but for a little break in driving and visiting my in-laws, my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and his family, so that my daughter could see her cousins. And we went up to Illinois. So the first day of travel was a Friday, and my niece is in color guard, so with the band football, and it was cold that night. So we went to the game, and it was cold, mainly because it was so windy and the wind was super cold. So we went. My daughter was like freezing, and I was okay, but I had brought my favorite headband. If you've been around, you've seen quite a few of these. I have made 3 of these so far. This is my first one. This is called the Woven Cable Headband. It is a free pattern. I have 2 of them here because one was a gift to my grandma previously. So this one I think is, I feel like it was an Aran weight, again, in my project page. This one is so super warm. And then I made this one, and this one is in a DK weight. So, and I literally didn't change the needle or anything. This kind of matches my sweater here. So it's thinner, but it still fits really good. I will go ahead and mess my hair up for you guys, but it just fits nice. So even this is a lot thinner than this. And then I made one in worsted weight and gifted it to my grandma. I love this headband. You knit it flat, just some simple cables, and then you attach it. So I was, one thing that was super warm was my ears because I had my headband on. And I was telling my sister-in-law, I'm like, oh, I should make you this headband because it's so good. And so their school colors are red, white, gray, black. So when I was in Iowa, the hotel we were staying at was very close to a Michael's. And so I just stopped in and picked up some yarn. So my acquisitions, first of all, stopped and saw my friend Christy, and she gifted me this bag that I have been eyeing. This is from Knit for Brains, Laura. Do y'all remember Rainbow Bright? I love this. And this fabric with the stars on it, I don't know if you can see the texture of the stars. It's amazing. I love it. Christy, you're awesome. So that is one acquisition. Second acquisition is this yarn from Michael's. So I bought 2 different skeins of yarn. So I got this red one, and then I got basically like a black and silver variegated one. So this is Bernat Softee Chunky, and this is the colorway Berry Red. So I haven't gotten super far, but you can see the cabling here. And this one was chunky enough where I did go up a needle size. I think I usually use a US 8 for all those ones you've seen, but I like to cable without a cable needle, which actually the chunkier yarn, the easier it is because the stitches just kind of stay in place. So I was having a hard time with that, so I went up a size needle so that I could do that comfortably. But yeah, here it is. Then I have my twice sheared sheep to know what row I'm on. Super easy pattern. Love this headband. My absolute favorite. I don't dislike hats. I just feel like they don't look great on me. So if I'm going for pure warmth, I'd rather have a headband than a hat. A hat to me is like kind of like decorative also. I just would rather have the headband. So that is also what I started while I was away. All right, so that's all of my cast on. So now we're gonna go into my whips. All right, so the first thing, let's take a look at how I've done with the Advent cowl I've been working on my design. So it is in one of my Mrs. Brown's bags. Oldie but goodie. Love this bucket bag. All right, now let's see. Okay, I do have a stitch mark right here. So this is the second project I spent the majority of my time. I was working on this and the shawl because these are the 2 items I need to have done by the end of this month. The shawl because it's a test knit, even though there's nothing wrong with that pattern. I'm pretty sure she has the information she needs, but I committed to it, so I'm trying to get that done. And then this one because this pattern, as long as I can get it done by the end of October, I can finish writing the pattern and it can go into the Arkansas Yarn Co. Advent box. So here is where I was last time. Now, I made a lot of progress, but you'll see I have another progress keeper up here. So this is when I kind of changed some things. So I was going along. The, of course, idea of an advent is to be able to use your 24 minis and a skein of fingering. Well, so the end of this purple here is color 12. And I realized, do I have it here? After that, this is what I had left of my one fingering ball. So I was using way too much of my background color here. So what I decided to do is I got another skein from Lori and I'm changing it up a bit. So this already, with the size that this was, from here to the purple, was going to be quite long when I attached it. So I did some measurements and some calculations, and I've basically taken out a repeat, which is 4 rows per color. And so then I had to change the order up. So I weighed my fingering skein before I started, and then I started this. So you can see the pattern has changed a bit. I actually prefer it. So I still love this, where I was holding it with the white around and then with itself in the middle. So you can see here is when I changed it. So now I'm holding it with the white for 1 repeat, holding with itself for 2 repeats, and then with the white for 1 repeat. So I have 4 repeats per color. So I have 3 colors done with that. I really like that. So I'm in my 4th one for that. So I'm going to keep going with that, and who knows, maybe it's not going to work, and that'll be all right. But I am trying to work on this, and then when I get done with it, I'm going to attach it and see if it looks the way I'm imagining it will look. Make sure that that's correct. Weigh my fingering weight yarn to make sure we're good, that you can really get through with just 1 skein of fingering. But yeah, either way, whether it makes it to a pattern in time for Advent season or it doesn't, either way, I'm really enjoying it. It's, again, a popcorn knit because I have the 4 rows memorized. So as long as don't get mixed up, when I pick up and I think I'm on a different row, then I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, so that is where I am with that. So I've made quite a bit of progress. I better move this stitch marker up. I want to keep the one where I have it for when I change the pattern. All right, so the next whip was another design, although I'm not at the design part at all. I didn't work on this one a lot. Last time I worked on it was in the car on the way to Iowa when my daughter took a turn driving for about an hour and a half. And so I was able to knit a little bit. But again, it just looks like a vanilla sock right now. So this is my sock. This is in my Trappings and Trinkets bag. Love this sock bag. And this is from Kimbers Cozy Creation. It's one of her new colorways called My Fall Valentine. And so I did toe up. I was just using scrap yarn for the toe from the Hey Sister Yarn Co., which no longer dyes. And I forgot to put this in my sock bag. So the idea is I was going to knit up. I had my sock, my sock yarn ruler in the car. And then I realized, oh, I didn't bring my yarn for my heel. So I'm like, I guess I'm doing afterthought heels, which is fine. So that's where you'll see this marker here, that's where I need to input my heel. So my patterning is going to be coming, like I mentioned last time, my idea is for a lace patterning up just the back of the leg for tall socks so that you could see them if you were wearing like short little boot shoes for the fall. And so I kind of didn't want to work on this on the way home because that trip is always exhausting to me mentally and emotionally. And I kind of didn't want to do it right after the heel. I kind of want to move upward on the leg. So I kind of wanted to honestly try on my little boot shoes and see where I wanted the pattern to start. So I worked on it in the car and then I didn't touch it. So, but I love those colors. Again, another one of my co-hosts for the Stripe Along 2023. All right, the next one is my Pure Joy. I did take this with me on my trip, but didn't touch it. I think the last 4 projects are the only things I touched at all while I was gone. The next 2, I've touched a little bit before, and since I've gotten home, that's why you're seeing them. This is a woolly bean bag. Juanita. I just saw her yesterday. Now, she is not actively making bags anymore. I do have a link to her Instagram page below, and she says that when people usually contact her for an idea for a bag, she'll usually make it. So if there's something that you see that you're really wanting, just DM her. Like I said, she's homeschooling her kiddos, so she's kind of focusing on that. But she said that she hasn't been regularly sewing, but she's still willing to make bags. So love, 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 love her bags. All right, this is my Pure Joy that I started for the Hokey Fall Knit Along. Here is my yarns. This is, let me look at my notes here. This is Homestead Fibers in the name Paul. And this is Teenybutton Studio in Island Getaway. So yeah, I had signed up for 4 Hohi things for the Fall Knit Along. This definitely is the one that's gotten the most love. I cast on some DK socks, which you won't see this week because I haven't made any progress. It is what it is. I knew I wasn't probably going to make 4 things, but you only are eligible for prizes if you make the thing you signed up for. So I thought, you know what, just in case, whatever. Actually, the next thing you see is also a Hohi project that I signed up for her knit along last year. Yeah, I think. Anyways, so this is the Pure Joy. And I've actually made a bit of progress if where I showed last time is correct. So my stitch marker is right there. That was in one of the Sock Yarn Society monthly boxes. So I basically was at the start of a wedge. I've completed that wedge and I'm literally on the last row of this current wedge. So then there's one more wedge like this, and then the final wedge will use this other color, the solid color, the Homestead Fibers. So I have 2 wedges left to go. So again, this is an easy knit. If you're comfortable with short rows, you go to the short row, work past it so many stitches, come back, so on, so on, so on, until you basically get to the end. And then you know it's time to do your special stitches and go on with your next wedge. So really, really easy. Garter. So yeah, and I'm loving these colors, which is good. All right, last whip. So my last whip is in this giant, beautiful bag. This is by Tanny Casey. I love this bag. It is perfect for a sweater size. Really great leather handle. This is my Lace and Fade Boxy. I mentioned that this is the last item on my whip Make 9 board. So I'm happy. Last podcast I had just gotten it out, fixed my errors, and moved on. So I worked a little bit on this. Let's see. Find my stitch marker. Oh, I love the colors of the sweater. So much. So, okay. So last time I had just finished the last lace section because that was a section before I picked it up. I had to rip back, redo that lace section. So now I am almost done with the stockinette section. I have a few more rows to go. And then I have one more lace section and then stockinette and ribbing. I'm going to put up a picture of Hohi's picture of hers. But I love this yarn. So this yarn is, this is Junkyarn, Boss Sock, and the Astronaut Barbie colorway. And then the mohair I'm using is Cake Wool Cream in the colorway Smooch. It's cream. It's kind of hard to, but there is like a little bit of pink in there. I don't know if it's coming across. So yeah. I'm loving this. I have one more lace section. Hopefully there'll be no problems with that. And then I will go on to finish the body. And then it's kind of like 3/4 sleeves, I think. So yeah, we'll see. This is my last skein of yarn of this. There's quite a bit here, but we'll see after I get through another section in the ribbing what I have left. We'll determine how long my sleeves are. Because I got this a couple years ago, and I actually was working on it a little bit this morning, and I went on to Kimbers' website, and there's absolutely none of this, and I don't know if Astronaut Barbie was a specialty colorway, so this might be all I can get, which is okay. So I also could, because I have so many like pink colored things in my stash, I could also do the ribbing, both this and the ribbing at the bottom and stuff, like a different solid pink color from my stash. So that is maybe a solution also. So yeah. And that is all my whips, you guys. So I feel like I've made decent progress. I mean, you guys hadn't even seen that shawl, and I'm almost done with it. That shawl is so much fun. Definitely recommend it. So yeah, that's it for my whips. There is no spinning this week, and I've already showed you my acquisitions. So as many things as I have cast on here, you know, I'm having cast-on-itis again. So I don't know if it's the fall and the cool temperatures finally coming in and I want to cast on all the things, even though I haven't finished all the things. But I brought 4 things specifically that I already have the yarn for, the patterns for, from my stash. So let's go into future makes. All right, so future makes, dream knitting, whatever you want to call it. So I talked about before how I really want to try to use through some of my stash. And so I go through, I pick yarn out, pick patterns out, and then I put them in a bag and they're ready to go. So I have been dying to cast on, well, I should preface this by saying when I left Little Rock for Iowa, it was still like about 80 degrees for the high. You know, which is definitely cooler than our summer here, but not, you know, cool like sweater cool. But I packed 3 of my sweaters. In fact, I had to take them out, storage, wash them before my trip so I could take them. And I got to wear all 3, and it just, I think it made me giddy finally about fall. And it has cooled down here. Right now, it's 56 degrees here, and it's supposed to be a high of 65, which again, isn't as cool as some people. But for here, that's like perfect fall vibes. So I went through my stash and I'm dying to cast something on. Whether or not I do, we'll see. But I have a bundle saved to my favorites on Ravelry. So I can go in there and see the pictures of, okay, remember, these are all the things you have. Like, you can start right now. As a reminder, and then I have to go through my cabinet to be like, what colors did I have it in? Oh, right. So I'm definitely feeling I'm definitely feeling sweater vibe, but yet not like fall colors. I'm feeling my normal bright blues and pinks. Seem to be my go-to. You'll see by the color palette I have. All right, so the first thing I picked out, and I'm so sorry for the crinkling, is the Diggory tee by Devin Ventry. I'm knitting McPurley. This is a t-shirt. And the reason I like this one is because I took one of my short sleeve sweaters with me, and I am hot-blooded. So even when it's cool out, and the sweater I took with me was like a mohair fingering. So like a DK feeling, cozy, but like short sleeves. And so I didn't get overheated, which was great. So even though, yes, it's getting the cool season and you think, oh, full-on sweaters, I love a t-shirt because the thing with, just like summer, it's boiling hot outside, but then when you go inside anywhere, it's freezing because everyone has the air full cranked. Same with winter. It's nice and cool outside and your sweater feels great. And then you go into a building and everyone's heat is cranked. So if you're going into a grocery store or you're running errands or going to church or whatever, then you're hot because you're just in the heat. So I like the idea of another t-shirt because it's a great layering. You could put another cardigan over it outside. But here is my yarn I have for this. This is Charming You, my friend Maureen. And this is her chibi sock base, which is 80% merino wool, 20% nylon. 400 yards to 100 grams. And this is the color Oceanic Oasis. So this is just super fun. Because this is a basic tee, I thought, okay, the way to make it more fun is just put some funky variegated yarn in a t-shirt. So really want to make this. That's number one. Number two is the Elton pullover by Locatelli. I have the Elton cardigan that I made. I made it in all white. It's super feminine. It goes over everything. It's stunning. I love it. I necessarily didn't love making it. I had to force myself just because I wanted the product so bad. But I think now, like, I'm making her lace and fade, which again is mohair and then fingering. And that's, again, what this is. So I think maybe I'll have a better time with it this time. I think that was the first time I did that. And it was a cardigan, so back and forth, which is fine. I mean, I know purling isn't everyone's favorite, but it doesn't bother me, especially because I want this item very badly. So this is the pullover. So this wouldn't have that. This will be in the round. And I have picked out, I have had this in my stash for a while. 2 skeins of hedgehog fibers. This is just their sock base, and this is the colorway Genie. It's 437 yards for 100 grams. So I had this for quite a while. And then when Macy of Mace of Skeins came for her trunk show, I saw this baby, which is gorgeous. This is her Royal Flush lace base. And I don't know if she still has this because I know she kind of was like cleaning out her bases and like doing new bases or new colors. So I'm not positive that you can get this, but this is in the colorway Hot Kiss. So I have 2 of these. So I just think that would be so much fun. So that is number 2. So I have a t-shirt, a long sleeve pullover, but with mohair. And then the last 2 I have are cardigans because, again, I feel like I need more cardigans in my life because I get more wear out of them. This is great, but honestly, it's almost 9 o'clock and I'm getting a little hot. So I will not be able to wear this all day long yet. And frankly, in Arkansas, I always say it seems like we have about 2 weeks of actual winter. People that have grown up here probably disagree with me, but I grew up in the Midwest with very cold, snowy, icy winters. So to me, like the true winter only feels like 2 weeks. I don't have a winter coat and haven't used one for like over a decade. And so to me, here isn't cold in the winter. But again, if you're from Arkansas, I know you'll disagree, and that's okay. So I like cardigans because to me, they are my winter coats. They're just warm enough to go over whatever I'm wearing, and I don't need a coat, and I can take it off. Like if I go out to do errands, I can put it on. I come home, I take it off, and it's fine. So I know I'll get a lot more wear out of it. So this one probably has been one of the things I've had the longest in my cupboard to make. And the colors have switched around quite a bit. So this is the Le Pouf from Beata from Hedgehog Fibers. All her patterns are free, so I'm not giving anything away. And I have gone back and forth on, she has the cardigan version and she has a pullover version. And so I still don't know, because until I cast on, who knows. But I really think I'm going to do the cardigan version because, again, I need more cardigans in my life. So this one, you're holding fingering double throughout. And you're holding two together, then you're dropping one color and holding it with another color, and so on and so forth. So I kind of went through my stash a long time ago and picked out colors that went together. So... and I had quite a bit of sparkle. So what I decided to do is pick half sparkle and half not. Because I figured if I'm changing out how I'm holding it, I'll always be holding it with one sparkle if I do every other. So these are the three that I have in sparkle. So this is a Bad Mom Yarns. This is one of Lori's, Arkansas Yarn Co. This is another Arkansas Yarn Co. And then, to supplement, I have, this is another Arkansas Yarn Co. And then I have a Legacy Fiber Arts. And this one, I'm pretty sure this is the one, this is Charming You. This one was given to Lori by Maureen when she was here. But this is my colors, for sure. And so I stole it from Lori. But, you know, all's fair in love and war because... you know, she's stolen some pink ones from me, so it's all good. So I just figured this pink and green combo, would go nicely together. Held double, whatever. They kind of just all, I think, would play nicely. So that's my plan, is I want to make a Le Pouf really bad. It's one of those, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like any, hard or anything. And I made cardigans. I don't know why it's been sitting in my cupboard so long not being worked. But that is one that I have been thinking about lately. And then the last one is another cardigan. And this is one that I got not long ago. So this is for the Cozy Cardi by Shayna Billows, written for Chelsea Yarns. And I had gotten this to make that. So this is all going to be one color. I have quite a few skeins of it. This is Loopy Mango Dream. It's 100% merino wool. 109 yards to 100 meters, 50 gram ball. So yeah, so this one, not only is it a cardigan, which I said that I could use, but it's also a single color. You guys know that I am prone more to variegated, sparkle, speckles, pops of color. It's hard for me to get just a regular tonal and just make a garment with just tonal. But obviously that will have more uses for it where they could go over many things. And so I feel like of these 4 projects, this one has the most likelihood to be cast on next because it's bigger yarn. 1, I could use a cardigan. 2, it's bigger yarn, so the thought would be that it would go faster for me. One would hope, and I could get a finished object out of it. So we'll see. We'll see in 2 weeks when you see me next. If I have cast any of these on, if I've cast multiple on, I really would like to get some things off my needles. I have to work on my Advent cowl. The shawl will probably be the next thing off my needles because that's just going so fast. If I watch a movie doing it, I'm like, oh wow, I move my stitch marker up every time I get to the little lace row, so I can see which one is the front without thinking about it. And so that one's going like so crazy fast. But I still, this isn't all my whips. If you've been here a while, I have some put away. And of course, I have my monthly projects, which I need to work on my crochet for my Make Along with Lori for the blankets. As of now, I'm caught up, but I have not done October yet. So I'm hoping to do that before we film. And then my Gritty Knits All Year Advent just got shipped, so I'm working on 2 projects for that. So usually when that comes in, I wind those up immediately and work on the 2 projects and get them done till next month I wait for the yarn. So I have lots and lots and lots of whips. And usually my current whips fits on my IKEA cart. And for me, that's as many whips as I should be actively doing at one time. If there's not space on my IKEA cart, I really shouldn't cast on a new one, because where's it going to go? I do not have whips all over the house. It is on my cart, and that is it. The ones I'm not actively, it's in a cubby by my desk. So, yeah. But I'm feeling good about it. I have faith that I will get some done. And, but it's our season. It's our cooler temperatures, cozy season, cast on all the things, finish the things. So yeah, I just want to work on what makes me happy, that's what we should be doing anyway. So I'm really glad you were here. Not much else to mention. I had shared some things about my Iowa trip on my stories as I was gone. But I'm happy to be back as always, because I like schedule. I like boring schedule. That's just who I am. I like knowing what day it is and what I do that day. So I'm happy to be back at home. So I'm happy to see you guys. Thank you for stopping in. I will see you again in 2 weeks. Happy making.